Welcome everybody to today's mapping class. I'm not exactly sure where this episode will go, but the next thing I like to do is try to set the scenery. And in order to do that, we need to do a couple things. We need to jump in game, see how it looks, but first, I wanted to add some trees. And so in order to do that, we're going to hop into the West Coast map again, and we're going to take a few trees from that map. So let's hop on in. What we are looking for is something like this. We will look at, nope, not that one, like this maybe. There we go. So we have a hedge tree large and a hedge tree small. Let's grab both of those, and what we're going to do is we're going to cut those. We're going to create a new transform group at the bottom down here, and call it scenery or something like that. Yeah, SCENERY, something like that. And we are going to paste what we cut into there. And the reason I'm doing this is because we're going to grab a few things and we're going to take them all with us over to the West Coast. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to grab the entire water plane. And if you take a water plane from another map, just make sure it has this in user attributes. It has environment on create.water, or, I mean, you can always add that later, but it's just easiest to get the correct water plane, the actual water plane. In case you're unfamiliar, most maps, well, all maps can only support one water plane that actually you can draw water from, and you can't drive tractors through. The rest of the water planes have to be artificial, and I mean, unless you make them an extra layer, you can basically drive right through them, and they do not act as water in game. And anyway, we're going to grab that water plane, and we are going to cut and paste that into the bottom. There we go. And then we're going to grab some spruce trees. I think we only need one spruce tree here. We're just going to have a spruce tree forest type thing. So we will cut that, and we will paste that into the bottom there. And then one final thing, I want to grab a bridge, because I had a little moment of inspiration when I was looking at this map earlier, seeing what I wanted to grab from it. And I want to grab this bridge because I really want a bridge where we're gonna kind of bridge the gap between two mountains. So I think that'll be fun. And we're gonna cut that and paste that. And there we go. And then the final thing that I want to grab are some houses so that we don't have to grab them later. So let's look at, here we go. Let's just click on a house, see what group they are in. New stone house, so cottages, cottage houses. Okay, let's just grab this entire group of cottage houses. Let's see what else we get. We get a few bushes. We get, let's see, what else do we get? I don't think we get any animated. What we want to look out for is you don't want to accidentally grab animated objects. Well, I mean, you can, but okay, I'll just cover that in a second. So right now, we will just export selection. Oh, no, we don't want to do that yet. We want to cut the cottage houses into the bottom under scenery, and we'll paste. We can come back later and grab buildings. You generally don't want to grab too much because of what I will explain here as I am exporting. But first, let's export selection with files, and I'm going to do this a little bit differently than yesterday, and I'll explain why. Yesterday, I told you that I like to put them in maps and textures, and then make a folder in here and put the thing that you export from another map in here. As you can see, I did that with prefabs that I grabbed from the mod hub. That's fine because these basically don't already have a file structure. However, if you grab something from another map, what you want to do is you want to find the same level as your i3D map, so map 01 i3D. And then you want to export your files into that level. Obviously, you don't want to overwrite that, so we are going to say this is, let's just call it the same as the transform groups, SCENERY, and then we will hit save and hit yes. But the reason that I want to do that, without trying to get into too much detail, there are things like shaders, for example, that you will grab with you from the other map, and unless you're careful, you'll basically have a whole bunch of different shader folders, and it's okay to do that, but then you start getting duplicate objects, duplicate textures, and nothing is stored in the same place. If you do what I said and you paste everything at the same level. So if I import and export everything at the same level, it will create the same folder structure at the same level. For example, this scenery, if we right click on it and go to edit with Notepad++, we can see it has mod objects / building. So there's a mod objects folder. There is, well, let's just say this for example. There's a mod objects folder. If this file structure does not have a mod objects folder, it creates one. And then it puts everything that it had in that folder. Now, the problem is, say I go back into Bullet Bill's map, and I export a few things that share some of these textures. Well, if I put it in, say, a texture folder, and then I make a new folder and say from West Coast, and I put those new textures in here, well, then it's gonna, guess what it's gonna do? You're gonna see what was the name of that folder? Mod Objects. You're gonna see another Mod Objects folder, and it might have some of the exact same textures that you could have prevented. I'll delete that before I forget. That you could have prevented if you would have put it all at the same level. So it's a good practice, especially if you're importing and exporting from the same map. Just do it all at the same level. I didn't really touch on that before. I also did not touch on animated objects and game objects like silos. Say I was to go into the West Coast map and import a silo system. I'll cover this later, but just be aware, if you get a warning, it's probably because, or an error, it's probably because you either have a duplicate ID object or an ID not specified in this map01 XML file. If you take a look at this, if you see a silo, look, it has a silo already in this map01 XML object. So here you have farm silos, for example. That's the farm silo that we saw in the map01 XML. And if you look here, it says unloading station farm. If we go a little bit more into, what is it, gameplay, under N, trigger position, right there. So index farm silo. If you go back into here, index farm silo, you have to have components matching in this XML that tell the game what to do, because not all of these attributes are defined within the editor. They are defined outside in this XML. So if you get some errors saying that you have a duplicate silo, so you might get something, if I imported an object from Bullet Bill, he might have called something on his map farm silo. So then I have two objects in the game called farm silo, and the editor, or well, rather the game engine does not know, well, there's only one reference of a farm silo in here, but there's two game objects referring to the same file. So you would just call it something different and make it match the name in game, and then make sure that you still don't have any errors and it works correctly in game. I'll get all to this later when I am refining the map and bringing in what I want, but for right now, I'm not going to touch any of that. It's just kind of a beware type thing. And then also, animated objects is the other common one. If you import and export a lot of things, you might say such and such item is not defined in animated objects XML. Well, that's because it's not defined in, either there's not an actual animated objects XML file. The animated objects XML file in your previous map might be from another level. So say someone put the animated objects right there. That's where they put their animated objects XML. If you export from a map that has it set up like this, you'll see in the error log that it's trying to find an animated objects XML file here, but one does not exist. In that case, you can copy and paste the old animated objects XML, put it at this level, or you can grab what you need from the other map and paste it into this file. Again, as long as it... Well, I won't go into animated objects. I have another tutorial just dedicated to animated objects. So if you are dealing with that, if you want to learn more about that, take a look at that tutorial. I'm not going to mess with that right now because I like to kind of get more of the scenery set up and then go back into detail. It's just kind of a warning, because if you export certain things, you might get some errors, and this is kind of to tell you what most of those errors are likely to come from. So I'm going to exit out of our animated objects right now. One final thing, as you import and export, so for example, we're going to go back into our map here, and we are going to, I did not do it yet, so we are going to File, import, and we're going to import scenery. And I'm putting scenery, basically I'm putting everything I import into this originals transform group. This is telling me eventually when I go to publish my map, I'm going to delete this entire transform group. These are all duplicates. So for example, I know that I only want one water plane. This I'm actually going to cut and put, let's see, where do I want to put this? And I guess I'll just put it in the starter map at the bottom there. So I put the water plane here. If it's something like a scenery or a heads tree, so a heads tree, this, for example, I don't want to use. I just want to leave this here to grab later. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically duplicate that and then control cut. And then I'm going to create my own transform group and say, let's just call this tree group something maybe. Tree. So tree groups. And I will actually, it's better if you use this exact same format. So we will always use lowercase at the beginning. And what's that? That's a type of camel case. We will start out with that. This are default names. I won't touch those. But anyway, I'm going to paste the tree group into there. So now I know if I ever want to go back and grab something, I have one of everything kind of in this category, and I can delete this at the end when I publish. But for right now, these are the ones that I'm going to use to go around and make my map with. I think that I kind of wanted a, you know, an alpine type thing. So this is going to go a little bit lower, I think. Or maybe it'll be at that height. I don't know. That's might not be enough to give you some separation. But a little bit higher, I am going to make the... So let's duplicate that again. And cut and put into tree groups. And actually, let's make another transform called Alpine. And kind of just make that our spruce tree. So we're going to cut that into here. And then we're going to put the spruce tree into the alpine group. So now I have an entire group of spruce trees. And if you don't know what I'm doing, again, this is the Control D for duplicate and then Control B. And I am pressing Control each time I want a tree planted on the terrain, essentially. And this, I talked about this in my beginner's tutorial. If you don't know what I'm doing, go back and check out that beginner's tutorial. One thing you do have to worry about is if you keep on doing this over, like, let's just do it randomly. There we go. That'll be a good example. Now, because I pressed that Control key, it recognized this collision layer. So it thinks that this is where you wanted the tree. Well, obviously we don't, so we got to move that. So after you plant, like, something like that afar, this is how, if you ever see a bunch of floating trees in a map, this is how it happened. And this one we can just delete. This one we will delete. And did we have any others? I think we might have had one more down here. Maybe not. Yes, we did. There we go. Oh, it's a little hard to see, but we got it. Okay, so now, like I said, I wanted to go in and drive around in game. I think that it would kind of give me a little bit of inspiration. And this is the thought I had. The water plane, I wanted somewhere like right there. And let's raise it just a little bit. Oh, let's put it at 0. Oops, not that. Let's put it at 0 and 0. So now it's in the center of our map. There we get kind of the feeling for what water would look like. I want it maybe a little bit lower because this water plane is going to be across our entire map. So maybe like at that level is what I want. And there we go. And one important thing to note is, unless they changed something recently with one of their updates, which I doubt, you cannot tilt the water plane because then you just can't tilt it. You'll have disastrous results. I won't go in and explain why, but just don't tilt it. Anyway, let's go into our map. I want to get a feel for the map. First, before we jump in the game, we have to edit a few things. Let's edit the career start point. We want to, now, yeah, it might look like it's there, but it's actually underneath our layer. So let's edit it and make it up here on this hill a little bit. So we will do Control B there. And then the other thing we want to do is we want to move the store places, and we only need one store place. Let's do the load place 1. So the load place is where your reset vehicles go. And if you look at, you know what, I also cover these in the other tutorial, so I won't go into depth about them. Check out the beginner's tutorial if you are lost. Anyway, let's put our load places and our store place there. And let's see, which direction do they have that going? Okay, yeah, so we want to turn that. Let's go just that way. And then let's turn this. What way is that going? Okay, same way. Let's turn it 90 that way. Okay, there we go. Now we have our load places, career start point. Let's hit save and hop into the game. Career, we want hard, we want, whoops. There we go, and deselect all the mods, and here we go, hop in the game. Let's load up the map, and here we go. So the reason I did that is we started here, but the reason I started here is because what we're going to do is we want to take out a loan, and I want to get us a tractor so we can kind of see how it feels driving across our terrain a little bit. And let's get a big tractor. I don't know what. Let's see. Let's get the JCB. It's a little bit faster and it'll get us across the map faster. So let's do that one. We will do yellow for the rim color. Wheel setup, standard. Engine setup, most powerful. I don't have enough money. Okay, well, that's fine. We can lease it. Let's go back out and it should be right there. All right, let's just press tab. And here we go. We are inside of our tractor, and I have already done this. I'm coming back and redoing it because I wanted to show you. It gave me a little bit of inspiration. I thought that it would be fun, drive what you created, and I thought it would be really fun to drive up here around the corner, and then I saw that other hill, and instead of kind of making it just an impassable hilly mountain terrain, I thought that it would be fun to put a bridge right there. So that's kind of what we're going to do. And the first things first is we are going to park our tractor there and we're going to save the map because this is how you can set up your default vehicles. It is the easiest way that I know of how to set up your default vehicles. Let's go back into Farming Simulator. It was Save Game 2. We'll go into our vehicles file. And we are looking for the JCB. You make sure that, again, you grab the beginning and the end tag. So vehicle, let's grab the entire thing, copy, and then we want to go into our mods, starter map. You're looking for the default vehicles XML and paste it between the career vehicles right there. And this is where you can actually change things like if you have a factory script, you can change the level of the factory script. If you have cows, this is how you set the starting number of cows for your farm. So example, if I wanted our cows to start out with 50 cows, I wanted to start out with 10,000 liters of milk and the water trough full of 500 liters and silage index 1 full of 5,000, all I would have to do is copy and paste that entire transform group into default vehicles down here at the bottom. And then there you go. When the game loads up, you'll start out with exactly that. We don't want that though. We want to just start out with a vehicle for now. We will save our default vehicles XML. Let's not save our save game. So our map XML, we don't need that anymore. And our, what is that? I forget what that was, but we'll exit out of that. Anyway, let's get back into our map. We wanted to continue on with the bridge. We want the bridge set up there. So let's get that thing going. Let's get rid of tree groups. We want scenery. And we have the iron bridge. Now this one, I think I'm only going to have one of. So instead of making a duplicate, I am going to cut and paste the entire thing in, I don't know, what should we call this area? Let's call this area, I don't know, maybe we'll call this, I don't know where we're going to put this yet, so let's just put it under the starter map transform group, and then we can organize it later. But for now, that is what we're going to do. So right now, let's do Control B, and hit the bridge right there, and then we will go a little bit to the side. I really like the look of this bridge, and let's go like that and move them on over. We're gonna have to move them up, but I'm trying to get it aligned right now. Let's actually, you know what, maybe it could look cool if we put it a little bit to the side like that, so it's not a perfect, I don't know, things just look a little bit natural when they're not always at perfect 90-degree angles. Let's get on up there, right about like that. And maybe actually a little bit lower. I kind of like hiding that concrete. Let's get rid of the dirt on the bridge. And no, we need to go a little bit further to across. Okay, so let's go a little bit more that way. There we go. That looks a little bit better. And okay, yeah, I guess let's just maybe leave the concrete slab there, and let's move this up a little bit more. And we can, yeah, that's fine. We'll fill that in later. You know what? It might look really cool if we actually make it higher from down lower and give this like a little rock type ledge thingy. We'll put some rocks there. Oops, a little bit too much. Okay, so that is we're gonna leave that a little bit higher because we're gonna put some rock formations there. I think that'll be fun. And let's bring this up a little bit higher too. And there we go. Yeah, so we're gonna put some rocks there. And that's pretty good on this side. Maybe one more. And let's lower from that end. There we go. Okay, there we go. We are making some good progress. Let's raise that while we're here. And let's flip it around. We can fix this in later. I would like to, I don't know, I kind of like the idea. I had the idea of a dry creek bed or a dry river somewhere. Oops, that is a little bit messed up. We're going to have to, let's see how we're going to fix that. Because the rest of the road, I think, all matches here. So I think it might actually be easier to lower this side at an angle. Just slightly. There we go. That looks a little bit better. And now maybe if we raise this side just a little bit. Actually, do we want to raise it? I think we are actually pretty good right there. So let's just leave it right there. And no, maybe down just a smidgen more. Just a smidgen more. Let's do 0.35. No, 0.37. There we go. There we go. Now we have less of a slope there, but we need to lower the terrain just slightly. And there we go. That's something just looks off. It looks like it's lower from that side now. I don't know. I guess 0.30 then. Let's try that. No, 0.2. Let's try 0.2. Nope, now it's higher from that side. 0.25. Now it looks good. Is there a gap there? Is that the problem? There's a gap. That's the problem. It's not that it's level. It's not that it's not level. Okay, well, we'll just have to do that and go up there. There we go. So that was... Let's just lower that side a little bit now. And there we go. Okay, so that is much better. So there was just a gap there. That's all it was. And we have our bridge, but it does look kind of ugly. This part needs to be adjusted back that way. Now, some bridges don't have the ability to do this. They all come as one piece. So this is kind of a handy little bridge where they allow you to have them separated like that. Let's look and make sure it is same from... So it needs to go to the left just a little bit. And there we go. Let's check both sides again. A little smidgen more. And there we go. I think that's pretty good. So then we want to raise up that a little bit so it's not looking like it's about, you know, not real. And there we go. So then we're going to, let's see, where should we put the structure on that side? Let's, that bridge looks sturdy enough. I think that we can make it a little bit of a wider thing and go a little bit further back like we did with the other side. So let's put it right about there. Make sure that we are centered. Remember, I'm not going up and down because it did have it pretty good up and down. So there we go. I think that will do the bridge. Okay, so then, you know, this is the way I like to work. I like to get small sections of the map done, kind of get a feeling for the map, and then I know what to do with the rest of the map. Right now, I don't really have an idea where anything's going to go, but I do know that I think I want this to be a field. I think. Maybe it could be like a hilltop type store slash grain elevator. I don't know. I'm undecided so far. I think that what I want to do is, let's see. I don't know. That's just something that you're going to have to figure out as you go along. I'm going to have to figure out as I go along. As I build the map, sometimes I might have to destroy entire sections of the map as I realize what I want. And some guys are really good at drawing a plan. Some guys draw a map out and then they can go from the map. But I just kind of need to try things, and then my map starts to kind of take shape. And, granted, I'm no genius when it comes to map making, but anyway, I think that should, I'll just conclude this video at the very end when I am done, and you guys can kind of see what it's starting to look like. So I'll catch you on the other side. Real quick, before I go off on my own, I want to make sure that I have the right texture for that. So what we're going to do is we are going to open up a folder, and we're going to look in, let's see, I guess I could have, there we go, Dirt Track Kit. This is the Dirt Track Kit. And if you read the instructions, we can delete these. I'm pretty sure I know what I'm doing. If not, we'll have to go back and restore. But I already looked through these, and the dirt track and the level of detail, if you look through all of these, you can maybe see something different that you want. Let's look at, so original dirt track to edit. This is his original. So it's nice he has a copy of that. So you can just kind of overwrite things. Original track dark, sandy look. Do we want a sandy look? That could be kind of fun. Maybe we want to do something a little bit, you know what? Let's try that. So what we're going to do is we're going to copy those, and we're going to go back to Dirt Track Kit, and we're going to paste those. And we're going to replace, because he already had the originals saved, as you saw here. Otherwise, we would need to save those. So then we're going to go back in the map and reload. There's not that many textures. We're going to reload all textures. Instead, you could just click on the dirt track and reload that by itself. But that's what our road would look like with that. And that could be very interesting, especially if here, let's see how that looks. And we're going to fill in with some dirt right next to the road. And I don't know. I don't think that's what I'm going for. It doesn't look as much like a mountain scene. I kind of think the default originals look pretty good for mountains. Let's go back in and look at other options, though. And this is the other way you can do it. You can just click on, well, if you can find the road, you can just click on the road and hit reload, and it will only reload that. You know what? That almost looks like pavement. Yeah, I don't think I like that. I thought from the screen it looked more like dirt, but that kind of looks like pavement from this angle. There we go. That one could be good. I think that I might like the look of that one the best, actually. That could be interesting. It looks like a Roman aqueduct. That one could be, I don't know. That one could be fun. I think that I really liked, I keep on clicking on the wrong thing. I think that I really liked, where was it? Not Stone Pebbles, not Tire Tracks, not Originals, not Sandy. Where was it? It was the old track. I think I liked that one the most. So let's copy that, and we'll just leave it like this for now. Replace, and go back in, and reload. Whoops. And there we go. And if you notice, because all of these curves, they use the same material, you only have to click on one, hit reload, and it reloads the material for each texture because they're all using the same texture. Let's leave it like that for now. I really like the look of that. I think it'll fit in really well with our map and the deserted mountain look. You know, the green stuff in the middle, I don't know. Well, maybe that made it look less deserted. I don't know. It's kind of tough. Let's just leave it like this for now and see how that goes. I think this makes it look almost a little bit more like Spin Tire's Rugged Mountain. I will check you guys on the other side when I am done shaping this a little bit more. Alright guys, I think that just about does it. I've gotten a basic idea for at least this section of the map. Here's what I did. I wound the road down a little bit more. I actually thought I was going to work up there, but instead I just continued this path down. And then it kind of struck me that maybe, I think it'd be fun if I do some kind of a lake here, But then it opens up into a basically like it'll close off here. So you have a really high, you know, mountains here on this side, and of course I gotta finish the train, but this is just a rough draft. I'm gonna make some mountains over here on this side, and it's gonna close in with some mountains on this side, and you're gonna kind of have a section, you know, like a little narrow valley where the track is gonna have to go, or not the track, the road, the little dirt path is gonna have to go this way because that's the only path out of this area. And what's gonna happen is I'm also gonna put in some train tracks going along the same path, and they'll kind of be winding back and forth, twisting and turning, and, you know, maybe overlapping each other a couple times, but that's the basic idea that I want to do. So it'll be, you know, a little mountain section over here. This is the... So we'll just leave it there, and I hope you guys all have a wonderful day. Thanks for tuning in, and stay tuned until next time. Like I said, I'm not really sure when the next tutorial will be. I'll just keep on working on this by myself, and as it takes shape, as I decide on adding things or features, like I said, I think I'll probably add, once I flesh out this area a little bit more, if this area gets concrete, I'll add a field, so that way I can show you field definitions, and then I'll work somewhere on giving you the farm, so then we can work on the farmstead a little bit. But like I said, I don't even know where the farm's going to be, because I don't know the shape or the layout of this terrain. So perhaps it could be fun if I do the farm somewhere in the middle of nowhere, where you have to take this really long dirt path to get to the farm, and there's fields on the way there, and it's really pretty. I don't know, maybe something like that. And then maybe we could have the town up there in a flat spot, really far away. I don't know. Maybe it'll just be an interstate and you live in the middle of absolute nowhere. I don't know. We still have a lot to decide. But for now, I hope you guys enjoyed and learned something. Thanks again. Be sure to check out those other tutorials if you are lost when I was talking about things. And until next time, yeah, thanks for watching, which I already said. So I'm going to say goodbye. See you guys later.